Hey, welcome to Keight Krafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you recreating some Happy Mail. Let's get started. So to kick things off, I must preface this video with I had asked my niece back in June of last year if she wanted to make me some cards and I would try to recreate them. Now, I've been a terrible auntie and I am just getting to them now. So let's open up the package and see what we've got. So here we have a beautiful underwater scene with some mermaid and mermen, and looks like a flat shaker card. And when we open it up, Keight, make mermaid card for video. Mermaid. Okay. So we're going to be making a mermaid card. I think this is really cute, and I love how it came together, and I was quite impressed. So next, we have this adorable little rainy sunny day with flowers and glitter and an elephant, and I just thought this was really cute, and I really love the effort that was put into this card and all the texture and detail that she did. And this one says, have fun making an elephant card for the video. Elephant. So I think I'm going to make this one today because this one looks like it's going to be quite the challenge. Just looking at it, knowing that I don't have a lot of the things that she used, but I do have this stamp set. So we're going to go ahead and stamp everything out and die cut it off camera. And I happen to really like this technique of cutting it out and then kind of using some washi tape to tape it back in. So it's kind of all organized, I guess. So I'm going to be going back and forth with all of these colors, and we're going to do a little bit of speed coloring because this video is quite long as it is. And yeah, so I thoroughly inspected the card, and I am trying to match as much as I possibly can to the original card that my niece made. Now, to tell you a little bit about my niece, she is 9 years old, and she lives about 8 hours away from me, so I don't get up that way to see her very much, because that is a long drive, and I do work a lot of hours, and then especially in the summer, I do have a lot of the craft markets, so we don't get to go up that often. But we do keep in touch, we do FaceTime each other, and we play video games together. Over the holidays, I was actually able to sit down and make time to play video games, and we both happened to have the same Mario game, so we threw each other up on the old video camera there on our phones, and her mom helped her load up the game, and we sat there, and I got my butt handed to me by a 9-year-old. It's always fun when you get your butt kicked by a kid when you're a grown adult. But it was all in good fun. We played a little bit of Animal Crossing, and then we went into our Mario game, and yeah. So I'm hoping that eventually I will be able to get up there and visit her before she goes to college. But that'll be for a while still. But yeah, I've been sitting on these cards forever, and she's been pestering me, did you make them, did you make them, did you make them, and sometimes it takes me a while to get around to doing a new project. So I apologize, Leah. I'm really sorry that I'm just getting to them now, but I wanted to surprise you because I know you watch my videos because I think that's super cool. So yeah, I'm making your cards as I speak. So once these ones are done, I will have another video uploaded on how I recreated the elephant one, so you might want to subscribe to that one if you want to see how it comes together. And I tell you, it was kind of a struggle, like looking at how she made the card without asking how she made the card, because I didn't want to give it away that I was working on it, and trying to figure out what colors she would have used. Now, she used pencil crayons for some of these, and she used a different stencil, which I don't have. And this stencil is actually one of those ones that I got in the clearance section, and it's an Echo Park A Magical Place stencil. I think it was part of like a Mickey Mouse thing or something, or a Magical Kingdom Disneyland thing. I'm not 100% sure. But I didn't have the exact stencil that she used, So we're just going to kind of wing it with this one. The bubbles are a little bit bigger, or the dots, I should say. We're going to call them bubbles. And the way she did it, it looked like she inked it and then shifted it a little, unless she accidentally shifted it a little and didn't intend to do it. And it's almost like the bubbles had a little bit of a ghosting to them. So you had two different colors almost. And then in the card itself, it was a little bit blotchy blue in the background. So it wasn't full coverage that you lost all the dots. And then when I was thinking about it, I'm like, wait a minute. I have a really small, tiny dotted stencil that I used for a paste craft, oh geez, like a year or two ago. And I thought I'd try that out and see how that works. To give you a little bit of an interest with like the texture of the dots and stuff like that. So it's like a multitude of bubbles, if you will. But I don't know, it was kind of interesting to think outside of the box, to look at what I'm seeing and envisioning something else. So I made sure to take all my favorite aspects to recreate, and then added some little extras like this right here. So the way she did the sand in it, it was a little bit lower, and I wanted to have a little bit more dimension with it. So I didn't have a stencil that I could use that would give me this finished edge. So I ended up taking a piece of paper and cutting it out. And then I ended up using two of the Distress Oxides, one in Scattered Straw and then that one in Fossilized Amber. So then I took the negative of the cutout that I did to cover up the yellow sand. And then I'm going to come in with I think this is, what is this one? This one is I think the Sunrays stencil. Oh, I gotta write that down. I forgot to write that down. So this is the Sunrays stencil, and I'm just taking some Salty Ocean, and I'm going in there as best as I can, just to give it a little, almost like a little light shining through the water. And I thought this would be a fun added touch to add to the creation of this. And I find that this particular stencil is a little finicky, and you really got to hold the rays down so you don't shift too much. But overall, I really, really, really love the effect of it. I mean, look at how cool that is. So I'm just going to bring in some Uncharted Mariner, and I'm going to go around the edges just to darken it up a little bit. So I want to make sure that I have the right color too. And that was another thing, matching colors. Matching colors to the original card, knowing what I have and trying to envision what I could use was kind of fun. So next we have the black and the gold in the Fine Tech Iridescent watercolor, and I did some splattering. And then I'm going to do the same with this iridescent watercolor. The other one was pearlescent, sorry. This is iridescent. And I'm going to do a little bit of splatter here, and that way I could add a little bit of texture to it. So you didn't see me splatter the black as I accidentally cut that out and didn't realize it. And then we're going to go in with some more blue, but this one will be the pearlescent, just to give it a little bit of extra texture. So I thought this was like a nice added touch, because you give the sand a little bit of texture and then you give the water a little bit more texture, and I just really like splattering. So you could see what that looks like right there. So I ended up using some red guava ink for the little seaweed. I mean, I know seaweed is green, but she used red for her seaweed, and I wanted to stay true to what she had and the colors that she used, or at least to the best of my ability. So we're going to add some glue to the back there, and we're going to pop that on into that corner, and then we're going to take this little guy and we are going to pop him in the same spot as well. Now, I have her card sitting in front of me, even though you can't see it off camera there. And I am constantly referring back to it as I'm building this, because this was just a lot of fun. Deconstructing a card in my mind and then reconstructing it in real life. Yeah. Oh, and I wanted to add a little bit of extra interest to the seaweed, because I thought the red was just a little bit bland. I stamped it twice, but hers was, it still had a little bit of texture in the stamp, like it wasn't fully saturated, so you had a little bit of a variation, at least that I saw. So I thought I'd add that little variation with the glitter. And then I'll pop this rock down here in the side, and that's what the mermaid's going to be sitting on. Now, when I looked at the card, she did some of the images glued to the card base itself, and then she glued the mermaids on the outside of the shaker. So I'm going to do that again with the glitter pen here. This is the Jelly Roll, Sakura Jelly Roll Stardust pen, just to kind of almost like, I guess, give it a shimmer effect, like the light's hitting down on it, and you get that little shimmer to it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean, right? So once we've got all that done, we are going to grab our scrap piece of plastic wrap here. This is just from another package that I'd have, because I like to save my packages for doing shakers. I like saving them for flat shakers because flat shakers are just so much fun. So what we're going to do is we are just going to take some double-sided tape. If you have not made a flat shaker before, bear with me. If you have, you can skip through this part. This is just me taping stuff down. If you end up doing one of these, make sure you leave yourself enough room for the glitter, and don't use anything with any, I mean, you could, but you won't get the same effect. If you use like flat shaker bits, like sequin mix flat bits, and then what do you call it? Flat shaker bits, glitter, sequin discs that are flat, nothing with texture to it. That way you can get some movement in there. Now, I've made the mistake of using flat bits with pointy edges, and the pointy edges ended up cutting through the, what do you call it? The plastic wrap. So I've pulled off the release tape from one side, and I've folded that over, and then I will give that a little bit of a snip so I don't have too much excess. And then I'll butt that up against the edge, but then pull it back just a little bit so I get that little bit of a hairline there. And then that way I don't have it too tight, because if you have it too tight and then you add in some bulk to it with some glitter, it'll bow a little bit and it won't shake around too much. And I ended up putting in a little too much glitter, which I wasn't too pleased about, because in her card there was glitter in it, but it wasn't overwhelming, and sometimes I throw caution to the wind when it comes to adding glitter, and, you know, kind of close my eyes and just hope for the best. And that's kind of what I did here. I had some leftover glitter from another project that I thought I'd use up, and honestly I probably didn't need that much, but you'll see in a bit. So here I'm just sealing off the end, making myself a little pocket so that way I could toss the shaker bits in there, and then I could seal that up nice and neat. And I'll just take my scissors and then just trim off that little excess, because once I glue this down to the card base, I don't want it poking out. The plastic, I mean. So here I'm just sorting through a few things, and then I'm going to grab the card again and I'm going to look. Now, she's got some of these little stars in here that I thought would look nice, but I don't have the exact color, so I'm going to go with that blue. Now, these guys came from the dollar store, or I don't know if it was a Dollarama or if I got them from the Dollar Tree. It might have been the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use my little triangle bowl here that, I forget where I got them. I don't know if I got them from Paper Crafters, but they sure are handy. Oh, those are those pointy ones that I was telling you about. I used those for a flat shaker, and they ended up cutting through, but maybe the film wasn't thick enough for it. So I'm just going to dump those guys in, and then I'm going to take some glitter here. This is from another project that I did, and I'm just going to dump it all in there. Now, I probably could have just looked and seen and moved it around. Instead, I was like, no, you're all going in that bag. I am done with you. I've held on to this bottle for so long that I'm just, yep, you're all going in that shaker bag. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I put too much in, but we're just going to seal it up, because it's like one of those things. Either you hold on to it forever and you can't bear to throw it out, or you just close your eyes and, and use it all. And that's kind of what I did here. So again, I'll trim off the edges of that plastic so I don't have a lot of excess plastic on the back for when I glue that down. And then you can kind of see it was a little too tight, and I have a little bit too much glitter compared to the original card. So I think the next time I recreate a flat shaker card from my Happy Mail stash, I won't do it this way with so much glitter, because you kind of lose you lose it on the bottom. But I guess it's kind of like a hint of something to look forward to when you shake it around. So here we're just going to take these guys off of their paper. Now this was, I think, Neenah's Solar White that I used. It was either Neenah's Solar White or Hammer Mill. I can't remember. I've got those two in my stash that I like to color on. And yeah, so it's one of those. So we are going to figure out what we want to do here. Do we want a sentiment? Now, I was thinking about putting a sentiment to this, and then I thought, you know what? She doesn't have a sentiment on her card, so maybe I should just take my tape, because this is plastic, and sometimes glue doesn't necessarily stick to plastic very well. So we are going to take some of this tape and we are going to tape them down, but we will also double stick with some glue, because you know how I like to double stick my stuff. So we're just going to plop all these guys onto my table, grab my scissors, cut little slivers off of them, and then that way we've got some stuff to stick down. Now this is 1/8 of an inch score tape. This, I love this one. I love how thin it is and how versatile it is for doing all sorts of little things. And it's great for double stick. It's a little on the pricey side, but for how much I use it, I think the price is worth it. I mean, you could use a tape runner, but I find that I don't have an accurate hand when I'm using one of those. So I've got everything laid out to where I want it to be. I'm going to add a little bit of glue so we could double stick, and then that way we have our little merman floating along, just minding his own business, enjoying that sun rays coming down from the top there. And we are going to use our fingernails here to pull off that release tape, and we are going to add some glue to double stick again, and we're going to figure out, where are we going to put her? We're going to put her right there, because in the original card she's between the two of those. And then this girl right here, we are going to grab our tweezers, add some double stick. And in the original card, she was just kind of chilling on that rock, so that's what we are going to do. We're going to have her just relaxing right by that rock, like she's sitting on it, but not quite, because it's behind her, behind the acetate. But we're going to say she's sitting on it, so she's relaxing too, maybe catching a little sun. And then we've got this adorable little, what are they called? Oh my goodness. I had totally slipped my mind. What are those little things called? Seahorses. Oh my goodness. I was thinking horseshoes. It's like, no, that's not a horseshoe. It's a seahorse, silly. So I've got everybody glued down here now. All we have to do is get her on a card base. So once we've got everything moved out of the way here, we're going to line everything up to make sure that I've got a good cut for my card base. And then we are going to take some double-sided tape, and we are going to put this down around the edges, so that way I have a double stick, if you will. Because sometimes I'm a little concerned about flat shakers and their adhesion on the back, to like, because I've had made cards in the past where I thought I glued everything down properly and I thought I used enough tape, but some of them kind of leaked. Like, I know one of my notebooks that I had to take out of my off my table had a little tiny hole in it, and I didn't realize it, and I had glitter everywhere, and it was a little embarrassing. But you know, I don't think anybody would believe me if I told them I sneezed glitter, because that would just be gross. So we're going to double stick our card base here to our card here, or yeah, I'm going to add a little bit more glue because I didn't quite get it lined up properly. So we're going to try this again. We're going to make sure that we glue this on right. So I'm going to line everybody up, make sure that everything is on the straight and narrow, and there you have my finished card, which I was quite excited about. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope you stay tuned for the next one that I do, because it's quite exciting. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.